Well, YouTube people and fellow collectors of stop tape, we all know a lot of people say Charizard cannot tear an ACL, but apparently he can be cloned, and that alone is causing chaos in the high-end Pokemon world.
Yeah, but your scientists were so preoccupied with whether or not they could that they didn't stop to think if they should.
If you have not seen it yet, Rattle's done a video on this. This has been on the Elite forums since, I believe, last night or so. If you remember, did the video just the other day about CGC, and I'm not going to get into the who, what, when, where here. Rattle's done a much better job of it. Awareness is kind of what I want to go for here, and then how to potentially protect yourselves a little bit. But if you watched the video the other day, CGC had authenticated some what appears to be allegedly fake alpha, beta, etc. test cards from the early days of Pokemon. This was discovered because the internet remains undefeated. The Elite forum is essentially the blowout forum of TCG, and the internet is going to internet, and they remain undefeated given enough time. They figured out that when you look at these things, printers leave a unique signature, and that unique signature has a date. And the date that these cards, these prototypes from 95 and 96, shows they were printed in 2024. Obviously, that is a problem. The math does not add up on that one, as the kids like to say. So that's caused chaos. From that, people are now going and looking at other things that kind of traveled through some of the same people's hands, associated with, also kind of popped up out of nowhere. And now we have the trophy illustrator cards, uncut sheets. These ones were not graded by CGC. CGC has no involvement to these to the best of my knowledge, but who knows? These have now gotten a second look, shall we say, and once again, the internet has done its thing, and they have done their homework and tore them apart, basically, and showing that the similar print codes are also located on these cards as well. The difference here is these are worth potentially millions. These are one of the most sought after, like the actual version of this, like the true card, is one of the most sought after cards in all of Pokemon. I am a noob when it comes to singles, but even I have at least that much knowledge that these things are insanely expensive in the actual card form. And now all of a sudden you have these mythical uncut sheets pop up, and also sold for insane sums of money. So the high-end Pokemon world is not having a good week. I don't know that this is going to get like the clicks and the views and as much attention as when Logan Paul opened up the G.I. Joe cards. But this is actually probably worse because people are actually just straight printing these things. And now that there's ways to detect them, really the scary part here is this has now been outed. So anyone doing this, I have no idea. This is something Rattle speculated on in his video. You know, can someone sit down and figure out how to either A, alter the metadata in the printer so it matches the printers that were used back in the day, or try to find one of those old printers, whatever. Now that they know the loophole on how they got caught, they will work to close that loophole and probably try to do this again. So that's where we kind of get to the next part of this is the number one rule of if it's too good to be true, it probably is, like, should really apply with most things in life. That goes even more so in the collectible space. I don't care if we're talking about Charizards and Pikachus, or if we are talking about sports cards or comic books or toys or whatever it is. If the deal and the item just seems so unbelievable, and it's not like people got a great deal on this, but the item even existing seemed unbelievable, take a second, third, fourth, fifth look at it and make sure that everything checks out. And if in the bottom of your little stomach something goes, something just does not feel right here, don't hesitate to walk away from a deal if something inside just says, I don't know about this one. I mean, something like this, I don't deal in the high end at all. The most expensive cards in my collection, across the board and comic books, top out at about $4,000 to $5,000. Now, for some people, that might be high end, but that's about as high as I like to go. And even with those couple, and I don't own a lot of things in that price range, but I do own a couple. Even those items, I almost don't even feel comfortable owning them, because when you get that expensive, it gets a little more scary when you deal with high dollar transactions, and I consider those to be high dollar transactions. This, you're talking about hundreds of thousands of dollars, if not millions. It's a whole different ball game. But you got to look out for yourself. If something doesn't feel right, walk away. I don't know what all this means for the high-end Pokemon market. It is not, like I said, it's not an area I play in. I have no vested interest in this one way or the other than to spread a little bit of awareness. Be careful out there. Even on the modern side. I mean, people will do dumb stuff all the time. Got to protect yourself. Got to make the safe decisions. If someone is fire selling something to you for well below market price, when you know they could sell it for a lot more, start asking questions in your mind. Okay, why are they doing this? What is the item? Are there fakes of this item, or is there something that could be sideways with this item, whether it's a sealed box, pack, a slab, a single, a raw card? It doesn't matter. Take a little bit of extra time on situations like that. Dot your I's, cross your T's, and if the seller gives you pushback on that, that should be an additional red flag. I mean, you could boil this down to as simple as just doing transactions online. If someone is adamant about you not using PayPal goods and services, even if you're willing to eat the fee, and they're like, no, please still send friends and family or Venmo or Cash App or whatever, run. It's not worth it. It's not worth it. Whatever they have, 99% of the time, you'll be able to find somewhere else. You might have to pay a couple extra bucks for it, but is that worth not dealing with the hassle of potentially getting scammed or frauded? Be careful out there. Like I said, if you want more information on this, Rattle's got about a 20-minute video on it. I'm sure a lot of other people could talk about it way more in depth on the ramifications of the high-end stuff. That's just not my place in this market. But I did want to make you all aware that there is more chaos in the high end. And usually the way that this stuff goes, I've seen it before in other categories. Once the top is off, I wouldn't be surprised if more things kind of pop out of this, because now people know what to look for, and they are going to be looking at everything. Anything old that potentially popped up that just doesn't seem right, everyone's going to be double, tripling down on this stuff and taking a second pass at it now that they know what's out there. So that's all I got. Curious for your thoughts and comments, as always, down below. Catch you on the next one. Peace.